I have a question for you briefly. Like, were you the first person to start like talking about this like reduction, or like how did you like stumble onto the idea of like, I mean, because you didn't go to optometry school or whatever. Like, what's your background?
Wizard school. Um, I I fixed a bunch of other random stuff. My parents are medical doctors, and I they put me in every conceivable thing. Like I have flat feet, so I got like those shoe inserts. You name it, I had it. Like braces. They just decked me out. Glasses, obviously, and like in my 20s, like I was hanging around hippies a lot, and it seemed like that was a time where people are put that idea in my head that some of that stuff is maybe not necessary. Like I went through a phase where I made my own shoes. Like it's ridiculous. But then I figured out that I don't need, orthopedic shoe inserts. You can't use any of those words anymore, but it was just, super handicapping me in life in general. And then at some point I was minus 4.75 or whatever. And then I couldn't see the taxi signs at night. Like you're looking for a taxi and they just have this little light on that says if they're available or not. It's green and red and stuff written on it. And so I went to the optometrist and they were like, yeah, your eyes got worse. You need -5. That's another thing that maybe you remember if you wear the strong glasses, like your eyes look really small. So I had these tiny piggy eyes and I was single at the time. And I'm like, my eyes are going to be even smaller. I'm just going to look ridiculous. And then I asked like, well, why? Why is it getting worse? And they're like, oh, it's genetic. We don't know. Between having fixed other stuff, and at the time, I was also an analyst in the stock trade industry. My job was doing research, right? Like, and it's just a company would be like, this is our earnings outlook, blah, blah, blah. And you just figure out what's really going on. All you do is ask questions. It's like those cop shows, like people incriminate themselves if you ask enough questions. I'm like, oh, why is that? I went to a couple of them and they're all like, the answer was all like, well, we don't know. And then you start thinking, how do I trust you with a treatment for a thing that you don't understand? Does nobody understand? Like, how does this go? And that this was kind of before internet was as awesomely easy as it is now. And I went to a library, checked out a biology book, and I started reading about it, and it was literally in there. It's literally just like, this is what makes your eyes worse. Hyperopic defocus, axial elongation, like all that stuff was just literally in there. Lens-induced myopia, like that's a big one I found. I was like, what the glasses literally make your eyes worse, and it explained the mechanism. Like I'm sitting there reading a physical book going, what in the freaking... And then I went back to the optometrist. I'm like, so this is actually what causes, and they kicked me out. Literally, they told me to leave. Like this whole thing probably wouldn't exist if I wasn't that pissed off, because I was like, that's unbelievable. They told me they don't know. And when I bring in the literal book, that's like their book. Like that's the stuff that you study in school if you're an optometrist. And they told me to leave. And that's when I started the blog, because I'm like, this is just ridiculous. And then I bought all the books about the Bates method thing. I went to Nepal. I did eye acupuncture. I did all that stuff. Stuff that we do, I couldn't find anywhere. Didn't exist at the time that I could find. But that's basically what the biology book said. The high diopter makes your eye elongate. So I'm like, well, then the lower diopter would make your eye shorten. And I looked up like the biology of how the eyeball elongates and shortens is a system that works in both directions till the day you die. So reading like 3 biology books literally explains all of Endmyopia. Like I'm not that smart. Like it's literally in there. It's like your eyeball elongates and shortens based on lens use. So I bought less strong glasses, and I didn't... A lot of the stuff that's in Endmyopia now is I learned the hard way of, you don't reduce too much too often. The idea of computer glasses, all that kind of evolved over the last 10 years. But yeah, it was weird, man. It's still weird that I'm the dude. Like there should be like a part of the
Yeah.
profession, like holistic ones or whatever. I don't know. The full episode of the Shortsighted podcast and lots more episodes are available in the Back to 2020 member section, along with hundreds of pro topic videos I made over the years, lots of guides, access to a community forum with over 90,000 monthly member visits, and tons more resources in Back to 2020.